The tech inspection process has become more precise over the years, but also more streamlined. There's 280 mandatory checks they need to do on these cars. They can now do that job in about 10 minutes per car. First order of business is a safety inspection of all related safety items. Then the car is rolled here to pre-tech. Pre-tech is a place where it doesn't necessarily have to be level, but you do all your external dimensions. You can take measuring devices that are custom made. They're meant to be extremely rigid so they can be repeated, but then also light and fast, to where a technician can quickly check one of these profiles. Of those 25% of the measurements done here, typically you would use things and templates, clamshells. You have all predefined templates, let's say for an airbox or different types of profiles. They can quickly go through and do all the pre-checks here before it's time to take it to a level surface pad. The next stop for the car is what's known as the setup pad. You can see it's actually rolled over a technician where some of the checks are being done as it's actually moved into place. There's an underwing profile that is measured, and all importantly, there is a small puck that is placed in the back of the gearbox to get it ready for this reference plane known as the setup pad. On the setup pad, it's rolled onto 4 platforms, which are scales. These are load sensors that can give the weight of the car across each one of the 4 corners. The nose is then removed and moved to an inspection station, and then it's time to put on a front frame, which is used to give you the overall reference plane for the car. Once the front frame has been attached to the front of the tub, you can see there's 2 reference planes on the bottom, coupled with the puck that went in the back. Now those platforms can drop, and the car will drop now with 3 reference planes to take all the rest of the measurements that are necessary for the chassis. Once there's a reference plane now used all the way around the car, you can slide in measuring devices and take any very precise measurements you need at any portion of the car. From this reference plane, lasers are also used in places to spot a specific location. Let's say you want to measure wheelbase. You can place that exactly in the center of the hub and get that precise measurement. Many of the readings are taken as exact measurements, but some are pass-fail. Like these wheel flips, you need to be sure that you're underneath this maximum height. There are checks done on the car on the way up the ramp, but also checks on the way down. The front of the car, known as the keel, the profile can be measured, as well as the skid. And of course, as it rolls across, you want to remove that magnetic puck that was used and placed on the way up the ramp. New in the last 2 years is the introduction of this nose reference plane. There's a jig that allows each nose to be affixed exactly how it will be done on the car. Then you have a reference plane to take very precise measurements, whether it be underneath, above. Now, precise measurements from nose to nose, and probably the most important thing, now if you want to check the dimensions of the nose or the wings, you don't have to bring the entire car. Each of the technicians will call out audibly the measurements or pass-fail that they find on the inspection pad back to Donnie Applegate here, I guess we'll call the hub of the tech inspection process. He enters all these numbers into his custom database that then produces this report that is sent via email to the teams, and the engineers obviously keep this in their binder for reference. Now, we've talked about 280 checks in 10 minutes, but what about manpower? This is all done by 12 technicians that travel from race to race. However, it's a rotating pool of 42. When it comes time for the Indy 500, where you have to tech the cars before each qualifying run, all 42 members are pressed into service.